Hey there, everybody. It's RevKev here. Hope you're having an amazing day. This is the first video in a new series where I'm going to be covering and going over Star Wars Legion by Fantasy Flight Game. This game was released, I believe, towards the end of 2017. I could be a little wrong on that, but it was around that time. I got it for my birthday in April of 2018 and have only played really once. And so I want to get into this game, so I just thought this would be a really good opportunity as I have to basically teach myself on how to play it again. And I have a whole bunch of soldiers to paint up that I do a little video series covering this miniature game of epic battles set in a galaxy far, far away. So I hope you will enjoy this journey with me. So Star Wars Legion is a miniature tabletop game that takes place on a scenic table such as this, where two players who each control one different faction have to set and conquer different objectives, and you have 6 rounds to do that. And the person who's accomplished the most of the objectives after 6 rounds is declared the winner. Now, the first core box that came out is this one here, and the only 2 factions that are currently available are the Rebel Alliance and the Galactic Empire. Now, another core set is set to release by the end of the third quarter of 2019, so it's coming up pretty close. And in that core set, it's going to introduce the Clone Wars, and we'll have 2 new factions to choose from: the Galactic Republic, which is being led by Obi-Wan Kenobi and a bunch of clone troopers, versus the Separatist armies led by General Grievous and all the battle droids. So I'm really looking forward to picking that up, because the Clone Wars, I think, really fits better in this type of game than the Rebellion versus the Empire. But that's just my opinion. So here you can see on my table, I've got a few painted Rebel troopers here, and they're getting ready to kind of take over and try to claim these objectives here from 2 squads of stormtroopers. And we'll have a little look-see on how the game mechanics play out. So the mechanics of the game are actually pretty simple, and it's really easy to learn how to play. Every miniature obviously represents 1 trooper on the battlefield, and they move along the battlefield using these special rulers. So you don't need like a measuring tape, distanced out by, inches or centimeters. You have these different rulers, and you can see that it has like a little 3 notch there, a little 2, and a little 1. So every unit that you play with in the game has a corresponding card. So every unit comes with a card like this, and you can see here the 2 little red things tell you that this unit moves 2. So whenever you want to move in the game, you would grab this little 2 ruler, put it on your squad leader. You can put it, now these guys can move in any direction, and it's kind of, and you can pick it, and you can turn it and pivot and put them anywhere you want. And when you're happy with it, you place your leader, remove it, and then just grab everybody else and put them within an inch of the leader, keeping the unit nice and tight and together. And so they move around the table like that. The other thing that we have that's specialty in this game is, like I said, you have the cards. Every unit will have a basic card like this, where we'll have their stats, such as their shooting abilities and unarmed combat, and they have these little kind of symbols here, which is kind of hard to see, but they have little symbols, and what these represent are how you upgrade the unit. So there's basically a big stack of upgrade cards that you can use, and for every symbol that's on here, you can find a card with the matching symbol on the back, and you can use that to upgrade. Now you can see here, for a unit of stormtroopers, the game works on a point system. So you build with points here. So you have an agreed upon number of points that you play at, play as opponents, usually about 800 points. Is a pretty decent sized battle. So here you got this squad of stormtroopers, 44 of them, gives you these 4 stormtroopers, and you can add an upgrade here to add an additional stormtrooper to your unit here with this card for an additional 11 points. And then you can add different weapons, to kind of make your squad more powerful, give them some grenades, and there's a whole bunch of different upgrades that are available. It's a big stack of cards here. You have force powers that you can use, so like when you have Luke Skywalker or Darth Vader, they have force powers. different ways to communicate with your troops. A really great way to add some really interesting dynamics to the game. So the other thing that you have is these kind of specialty dice. And so they, different colors, again, are used based on the information that is down on the bottom of your card. When you're attacking, when you're defending, attack dice are kind of these diamond-shaped ones, and your defense dice are your square dice, and the symbols represent how you hit and how you defend during the game. So you use those, and then the final tool that you have to measure is kind of this big long stick, and you can see which is kind of notched off. So you kind of start over here. You know, it's got the first notch, the second notch, the third notch, and the fourth. And what this is used for is for measuring to shoot. So for example, if I look at the card here it tells me that stormtroopers can shoot from a range of 1 to 3. So if these stormtroopers here wanted to take a shot at the rebels that are hiding over here, you would take this stick and make sure that they fall within the 1 to 3. So you can see the closest stormtrooper is 1, 2, he's within that notch, so these stormtroopers could shoot. You'd grab a whole bunch of these white dice. So let's say we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stormtroopers shooting. You would grab 6 of these white dice. I only have 3. You roll them, see who hits, and then work out the damage. So these are just some of the basic tools that you use to play the game. Seems a little complicated, but it's actually a really simple mechanic. You don't have to keep flipping through rule books. You don't have to keep kind of notes all written down on a piece of paper beside you. The beauty of the game is by having everything on cards and everything on tokens, which you place on your cards when you have damage or when your soldiers are wounded out on the battlefield. You put your tokens out on the battlefield so you can see who's wounded and who is, aiming and who's dodging and different things like that. It just really keeps it nice and clean and really simple to play. So that's just some of the basics here of how the game plays. So right out of the core set box, you have 3 different types of troops. You've got your foot soldiers here, your troopers, your rebel troopers, and your stormtroopers. You also have 2 different vehicle types. You have ground vehicles, which is basically means vehicles that their feet are on the ground. And you have repulsor lift vehicles. These are kind of ships that kind of hover off the ground, like the speeder bike here. And the beauty of these things, it comes with obviously a bunch of different rules, and each one comes with a card, exactly like the stormtroopers and the rebels do. Movement with these guys is you got to be a little bit more specific because they have these notches in the base. So the facing of these ground vehicles and repulsor lift vehicles is really important, because when you want to move someone, you've got to put your movement ruler in the notch and then kind of go in the direction that you want it to go, and then follow and again into the notch there. Now there's a bunch of different rules. If these troopers were to get trampled on by a ground vehicle, if repulsor vehicle kind of hovers and flies over people. But these are right out of the core box. So right away with just one set, you get a really fun battle that you can put on. Empire versus the Rebels, you get some speeder bikes, you get the ground vehicles, you get the ground troops, you get a whole bunch of cards, you get a whole bunch of options. And then the last thing, which makes this game a lot of fun, is this. The last thing that comes with the core set are your heroes, your commanders. Core set comes with Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker, and they really bring some really fun and exciting stuff into the game, where you have, force abilities, lightsaber battles, and it just, these guys are just awesome and a lot of fun to throw out on the table. Just imagine, for example, boom, you want to recreate that scene there at the end of Rogue One. Pretty much the only good scene in all of Disney Star Wars. But I digress. I'm not going to talk about that here. Darth Vader can come in here. And what's really cool, you can kind of know how powerful someone is based on the colors that's here. The color of the dice kind of goes up in power. White is kind of the lowest end. Then you get into black, and then you get into red. And the reason it's more powerful is just the statistics. So you can see on the white die, well, you only got 2 out of 4 there, and then you only have 1 out of 4. So the likelihood of missing is pretty high. Whereas when you get all the way to red, you can see all 4 of those hit, and there's only 1 miss on this die. So when Darth Vader comes at you with his lightsaber and he gets to roll 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these dice, you roll, you hit, you roll, you hit, those guys are in some pretty serious trouble. Now, it's all nicely balanced out because in an 800-point game, you're going to pay a whopping 200 points for Darth Vader. So that's the way that kind of keeps the game all balanced, so you're not sitting there and just mowing everybody down. So the points should balance out at the end of the game. So again, really cool, fun Star Wars game. Only played once. I'm going to get much better at playing this game, so these videos are to journal that. Painting guides, game guides, putting cards combinations together. I want to kind of journal all of this, and I hope this really helps you get excited about this game too. If you're a newbie to it, if you've never played, this would be a great time to jump into it, and would love to hear from you if you already play this game, if you are already an expert in it. Man, help me out. Give me tips, give me advice, tell me which things I should be looking to buy, because I am not going to be the guy who buys everything. That's not the way I roll. Right now, even though I've got more Stormtroopers painted, I'm actually leaning towards collecting a Rebel army. Just for something different, I'm enjoying painting them, just the different colored schemes, and just the contrast compared to just painting a whole lot of white armor. It just seems a little bit more fun to me. So I'm going to be collecting a Rebel army for right now. But that could change, especially once the clones come out. Oh yeah. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this first introductory video to Star Wars Legion by Fantasy Flight Game. Again, would love to read your comments in the comment section below. And as always, I hope everything goes great for you, and may the Force be with you. And thank you so much for those of you who subscribe and like and are a part of this hashtag Keeping Star Wars Fun community. You really mean, I so appreciate you, every single one of you that are part of this community. So again, may the Force be with you. And I got my painting station all set up, so I'm gonna go start painting. Take care, everyone.